Zach Leonsis, it's great to be with you. It's always fun to be in Washington, D.C. I love the city, but it's really a very big honor for us to sit and talk about this new initiative that we're partnering on together, Sports Business Journal's Inside the Industry, which will be seen exclusively on Monumental Sports Network.
Thank you, Abe. It's a really exciting opportunity for us at Monumental Sports Network to expand our library of original programming in collaboration with an industry leader like Sports Business Journal. I think that obviously fans have always been interested in what happens on the ice or on the court or on the field of play, but increasingly fans are interested in what's happening off the court, off the ice, what's happening in our industry. We feel so lucky in that our industry touches so many different industries of interest, from facilities and event management, to sales and marketing, to private equity and venture capital investing, women's sports, sports betting, media and technology, streaming. Sports is at the center of all of it. And despite being in an industry that's over 100 years old, this is still probably the most dynamic and fastest growing industry in the world. We have so many bold and interesting personalities to cover, so many different leagues, so many different teams. There are always incredible storylines, and so for us to be able to partner with you all at SBJ, I think is really a cool opportunity for us to give fans a little bit of a peek under the hood.
Every conversation we have these days with any industry insider, it's all about the growth of the sports business. What new facility is under development? What's this new thing about facial recognition allowing me to get into a facility quicker? Food and beverage, they always love to talk about that. Premium seating. So we think we can, with your help, tell some really interesting stories about the trends that we're seeing in sports. The Sports Business Journal, really since the mid-90s, we've been telling really inside sports business stories.
I'm very, very media savvy.
What are the latest trends in terms of the areas you talked about? Sponsorship, media, marketing, facility development, collective bargaining.
First one in MLS is really sort of for us how we set this stadium apart.
And I think this show allows an opportunity to help sports fans understand and learn about some of the real interesting elements that are happening in the sports business today that affects them, that they're interested in.
So many of these stories have a B2B focus,
Yep.
But recently I think they've transitioned into the mainstream. People are tracking, sports teams' valuations from many different other publications and whatnot. People have an interest in what is happening here. These assets and these teams have proven to be highly durable, highly integrated, and important to individual communities. They impact so much around them. It's exciting for us to tell our own story, but also highlight friends and colleagues in the industry and the great work that our leagues do too.
First couple episodes, real fun. First one, Zach, really looking at the innovation in venue design and development. I think you'd agree we're in a building boom of new facilities and facility renovations across sports, not just in America, really around the world. So we're looking at new, I would say, techniques, new elements, the elements of people accessing a venue, ingress, egress. Once they get into the venue, what does it look, feel like? Food and beverage elements, technology elements, personalization elements. You see all these every day. So don't you think that's
we know a thing or two about that with our upcoming building renovation.
Right. The second episode will look at the amazing and I think very exciting growth in women's sports. And I think even the WNBA had a record-setting attendance here in this market in Washington, D.C.
When I tell you things have changed.
But at Sports Business Journal, like you've seen, Zach, we've just seen amazing investment in women's sports, in new leagues, Professional Women's Hockey League. We were seeing it, of course, the growth with the NWSL, and of course, the standard bearer, the WNBA, which had a record season this year. So we're seeing at SBJ so many people wanting to get into the women's sports space, more brands, more investors, and just more interest. On the first episode, when we talk about venue innovation, we're going to have my colleague Joe Lemire, who has been to a number of these venues.
It recognizes my face and it says, "Welcome to Intuit Dome, Joe."
And we're going to do a look at the Intuit Dome. He spent time with Steve Ballmer, who you know, and look about what Steve Ballmer's vision was around that facility.
A lot of what we're doing is using technology to drive operational costs down so that we can lower ticket prices.
We're also going to talk to Jordan Silverman, who of course is part of your team that is really looking to reimagine Capital One Arena, and he's traveled to a number of venues and can bring a perspective there. We're looking at the Jones family and what they're doing in Dallas. Sometimes that you said a standard bearer that everybody pays attention to. And then in our episode on women's sports, we have Rachel Axon of our staff.
How are we otherwise serving female fans? You can't just shrink it and pink it.
Who is just so well versed in the growth of women's sports, specifically Olympic sports. She was in Paris for 2 weeks, saw amazing storylines around the Olympics. And we're really fortunate to have a leader of the show, someone you're very familiar with.
Get an in-depth look at the trends and innovations in the world of sport.
Yeah, Tarek El-Bashir, our very own on-air talent from Monumental Sports Network, will be collaborating with the team at SBJ, playing the role as host.
Yep.
Why are team owners and municipalities lining up to spend hundreds of millions of dollars?
Tarek, as our fans will remember, works primarily on the Capitals, has covered the Commanders in the past, worked for the Washington Post, has a great background in journalism. I think he's really geared up and excited to be covering the sports business industry with you all.
I know the question I'm going to get a lot is, how can I watch this show?
We're very excited to debut this show on our linear air on Monumental Sports Network. We're going to look to distribute it nationally with some other partners as well. We'll be running clips on social. We'll be putting it behind our paywall for our direct-to-consumer bundle as well. And I know that you guys are going to be showcasing it on your Sports Business Journal platform as well.
Absolutely, on sportsbusinessjournal.com. There'll be obviously the show a couple of weeks after it debuts, but also snippets, trailers, highlights. So again, we're looking for wider distribution eventually, but we're so excited to start with you in January with this Inside the Industry show.